Okay, morning. I'm going to get straight into this. I just want to say thanks again to all the parents that have joined this group. You know, the feedback that we're getting is amazing. So hopefully you get something out of this. But I would remind you, this group is only going to be successful if we all engage and we talk about our own industries, our own experiences in the future of work, and also how we support our kids in navigating their career decisions, and ensuring that they create career and professional success for themselves. What I'm going to go through today is very, very quickly and very briefly about understanding the future of work. And as I said in the last video, I think it's super important that we all understand, where we are at the moment and why this moment in time is so different and so important, not just for our children, but for us as professionals as well. So why is the future of work suddenly so important? There's always a future of work. There's always a future. So why is it now we're hearing so much kind of noise around it and so much importance based on this new future? Well, I think the one thing that we have to realize is this future is also a revolution. This is the fourth industrial revolution that we are currently living in and have probably been living in for at least the last kind of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And, we're only going to see it change the way that we work, change professions, in a far greater way than maybe we've ever seen before. So, little history recap. Obviously, we're saying this is 4IR, the fourth industrial revolution, industry 4.0. We go back to 1784, industry, 1.0, where we saw mechanization, steam power, these weaving looms. Then we fast forward a little bit to 1870 and we see mass production. And we see these assembly lines and a real change in terms of how we produce. Then we have Industry 3.0, which was that automation, the real kind of first use of computers and electronics. That was in 1969. I wasn't working back then. So I think the interesting thing for me personally is I am in one of these industrial revolutions, and it will be something that will be spoken about in future classrooms. So I think it's a pretty big moment as well. Quite exciting that we're living in these kind of changing and adapting times, being within industrial revolution. But this industrial revolution is different. It is different to the ones that have gone before it. This fourth industrial revolution is fundamentally different. It is characterized by a range of new technologies that are fusing the physical, digital, and biological worlds, impacting all disciplines, economies, and industries. And it's even challenging ideas about what it means to be human, which I don't think any of the previous industrial revolutions have maybe had. And the other thing is the exponential growth of this fourth industrial revolution and the rapid evolution of it is phenomenal. And the fact that it is touching every single industry, every single sector, every single job is phenomenal. So none of us are going to be able to escape this impact of the fourth industrial revolution. So when we're helping our children navigate into their careers and their professions, I think it's critical that we all understand where we are now in terms of this new world of work, this new future of work, and that we understand 4IR and we really get to grips with what that means, not just in our professions, but as many professions as we can, to make sure that we're giving informed advice and knowledge to our children when they start thinking about their own professions and careers. So a few stats to go over in regards to the fourth industrial revolution and some interesting things to keep in mind. Number one, 65% of kids entering primary school will have jobs that don't yet exist. 65%. So if you have kids that are in primary school, by the time they finish their academic journey, they're probably going to have a job that doesn't yet exist, that you don't know about. And this is the other key thing. If you're a Luddite and you're not interested in this future and these changes, you need to change that mindset. You need to be up to speed with these new opportunities, these new industries that your children could potentially have. Next one, 400 to 800 million jobs will be displaced by 2030. Obviously, that's quite a wide difference between the 400 and 800 million. That 400 is probably a midpoint, the 800 a high point. But the key thing here is there will be millions and millions of jobs displaced because of this impact of, the Internet of Things, AI, machine learning, robotics. And it's pretty scary. And when you're thinking about this for your own job, that's pretty scary. But if you're also thinking about ensuring your child is going to have future success, not just immediate success when they finish their academic studies, that you have to be looking at those jobs that are future-proof, or at least ensuring that your child has those transferable skills where they're going to be a success in whichever profession that they take, if they have to change or if they have to adapt. However, this is a key thing as well. Don't get too scared about that potential 800 million jobs displaced, because most people agree that more jobs will be created through the rise of these new industries, and that will outweigh that 800 million jobs that are displaced. Again, if we're thinking about those 65% of new jobs that don't yet exist, there's going to be a lot of new jobs, there's going to be a lot of new opportunities. But again, as a parent, you're really going to have to do your bit in ensuring what those new industries are, what those new job types are, to make sure that your children aren't within that 800 million jobs that are displaced, and they're part of that 65% of new jobs that are going to be created. Another thing that one for us as parents and us as professionals is a really interesting stat. 1 billion, or 1/3 of the workforce, will need to be reskilled by 2030. By 2030, and I think it's probably going to be before that. I think with the pandemic, it's accelerated us towards this need of having to retrain, and the fourth industrial revolution is definitely kind of being pushed forward from this pandemic. But I think the key thing here, again, with our kids, is making sure they're adaptable. And we'll talk about the skills that they'll need in the fourth industrial revolution at another point. But one of the key things is about that adaptability, the ability to retrain, to become lifelong learners, because as things accelerate, we're going to have to keep training and retraining and reskilling as we go. Also, changes with the fourth industrial revolution, we will see a bigger rise in the gig economy, with the current numbers being about 34% of the workforce are currently freelancers. This is only going to increase. And again, this is something that I'm going to talk about in terms of how the pandemic has changed how we work. Obviously, more people want to work remotely, more flexibility in how we work. I think what that will lead to, in my opinion, is also more choice for an employer in terms of where they recruit from on a global basis. Now, if we're looking to recruit people from different parts of the world, the tax implications, the employment implications change a lot. And it might be that what we start looking for as employers is more freelancers, individuals within this gig economy that, we can bring in at times of spikes of work, but then maybe, we have more flexibility, not working when things are more in fallow. So I think what we're going to see is definitely a rise of this gig economy. So also prepare your child and your young people to be independent, not to rely on necessarily getting that job, and also having that consideration of maybe becoming freelance and how they own that opportunity of being freelance, maybe developing their self-brand or professional brand, understanding how they can market themselves, how they can build that community and network. And again, network is something we're going to talk a lot about in the coming videos, and how we can build that for our young people, for our children, to make sure that they have the connections to find that work at a later stage. So we have this rise in the gig economy. Another stat is 50% of worldwide companies predict automation will trim their workforce. So again, what we're seeing here is employers and organizations really believe that automation is going to come into the workplace, and it's going to mean that they trim their overheads, they trim their workforce as they look at replacing them with the technology that is on offer. And we're only going to see more of this. So again, I think the skills that we're looking for in individuals are going to change a lot as well. And again, the skills we will talk about at another point. Then the final stat, by 2025, the split between humans and robots will be 50-50. 2025, that's not too far away. So we really have to consider that we're embracing the technology that's around us, not just in our working life, but making sure we're doing that with our young people and showing them how technology can be used to support them in their everyday lives, in their academic lives, but also in their future professional lives. So there's some stats. And I kind of wanted just to end here, because obviously this is just about the fourth industrial revolution. I will put some links and other reading materials you can go away and explore that talk more about this. But I found this stat here, or not stat, this quote that really resonated with me. And it's from Huey Newton, Black Panther's revolutionary. The revolution has always been in the hands of the young. The young always inherit the revolution. And this is what's happening now. This fourth industrial revolution, it is our kids that will inherit this. They are the ones that are really going to make the most of this fourth industrial revolution. They are the ones that have that technical knowledge that they all embrace it in their daily lives now. They sit at home with their phones on their laptops. They know how to consume on a digital format. They know how to use it. They're far better at recording things on our smart TVs than we are. Definitely than my wife. Hopefully she's not in this group yet. But, I think the thing is here with this fourth industrial revolution, it's important that we know it and that we show our children how to enter into it and make the most of it, because they are the ones that are going to be living and breathing it very, very soon. I also wanted to bring up just a quick thing here to really drill down in this fact that it's the young people that are going to inherit this revolution, not necessarily us as parents. And Catty is someone that I've known for a couple of years, that we've worked on some projects for when he was based at another organization. But I follow him on LinkedIn because I like following younger people that have more of a knowledge of the things that are happening within this new revolution. And this really kind of drilled home to me, this thing that it's the youth that are going to inherit this. So it talks a lot about NFTs and about the Metaverse. And these are things that I struggle to keep up with. I'm trying. But he put it out there that the Metaverse, or he posted someone else's comment, the Metaverse is the moment in time where our digital life is worth more to us than our physical life. And again, when we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, how, AI, machine learning, this kind of digital landscape is taking over, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on it with our kids and our children. And sometimes I think we can push against it. Don't spend all your time on digital. But here are two young professionals that are very successful in their fields. I like this. This is it. This is the time where now there is going to be more worth on our digital life than there is in our personal life. It scares me. It freaks me out. But unfortunately, this is probably the way it's going to go. And I say unfortunately, it's unfortunately for me, because I'm not necessarily in that time, but our kids are. And it's how we ensure that we are giving it the understanding that it deserves and that we're moving with it, not necessarily against it. But this is a bigger conversation piece that we will go through. So the final thing I want us to finish on now is that question to you. And I'll put this in the text as well. As a community, as said, it's about you engaging and telling the rest of the community, how this future of work is affecting you. And also, other questions might be, how do you navigate and guide your children through this? But a question for today: how is the fourth industrial revolution impacting your industry, your career, your job? We really want to hear that in the comments below. We want to know, how it's impacting you. And this is going to be one of the first things that I talk about when I interview some of you and I bring you into the conversation is, how is the fourth industrial revolution impacting you? How is it changing you? How is it changing your industry? The young person's going to be entering in the next couple of years. What is it they need to know? What is it they need to do? How do you keep on top of this accelerating exponential change in the way that we work? I'm going to leave it there. I know it's 15 minutes. It's longer than I expected. I always kind of just go on, but I'll bullet point it in the text as well. And hopefully we see some comments below. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully that was interesting in terms of the future of work and you've gained some basic knowledge about what it is. Okay, ciao for now.